This into the ultimate off-road mini camper on a budget with very limited mechanical or carpentry skills. I'm sure you've seen these Honda Elements on the road, and like myself, haven't thought much of them. But let me enlighten you. These cars are incredible. This thing.
Yep, looks good. Okay, I just saw him. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. He's just like such a big YouTuber, and to see him like in a Honda Elements bonkers. And I know he does a lot of crypto content and like reselling content. So it's not like he doesn't have money, you know? I know. It's crazy how many people are going to start getting Elements. But I like that he got the Atomic Blue. Sure. Let's check it out.
Has so many quirks and features. Like the seats can form this makeshift bed or be tucked away without any tools. Now, this particular one is a 2008 all-wheel drive model, which means it also comes with a smooth roof in the back so that when you turn this into a bed, you can do a little stargazing.
This guy's a goof, man. He's like, I love his editing style. It's fun. Unrelated, but I have been dying for more Element tours. Dude, I know, man. I know. It's like,
I mean, this thing.
I've been lacking a little bit on making videos and going out camping and stuff. But they're coming soon. I've sent a few emails to a few people. Hopefully I can get tours of their Elements soon.
Thing is pretty nice. The only problem is I got tricked when buying it. I found this car on Marketplace an hour and a half away from me, and after making the trip and test driving the car, everything checked out. It did hold a salvage title and was at 176,000 miles, but that's, fellas, that's fine. Nothing can go wrong.
There's a Homeboy's in Portland right now. This is going to sound crazy, but I know that Honda Element right there. That blue and silver Element, I know that Honda Element. I bet you if we go to my YouTube channel and look up the Portland video, like we're going to find that Element. I know this guy's in Portland. I think it's real, man. Like, it would be pretty insane for him to like. We don't want to spoil anything, but for what happened to him, for him to do that for content would be crazy. I know this Element though, that blue and silver. I know it's in Portland.
We agreed on 4,300.
And he should have never bought a salvage title. I think that's where he messed up.
Signed that title and was on my merry way when, like, half an hour into the drive, the gears just stopped shifting while I was on a mountain pass freeway. You can see here I'm revving the engine, but the speed is not increasing.
Yeah, chat, we might have just gotten bamboozled.
I had to pull over and call my homie's uncle.
That sucks, dude. Like, his first experience. Bend. Okay, you might be right. You're probably right, honestly. But it sucks, dude. Like, his first experience with the Element and the transmission blows. That sucks.
Which brings us to today. My whole premise was for this build to cost 10% of what an off-road converted Sprinter goes for, which is about 100 grand. So 10% of that makes my budget $10,000.
You're completely sure of the math. That's my quant.
So the car itself was 4,300. The tow cost 300, and I was able to register it for 356. So we're already at almost $5,000, and here's the current state.
$5K for an Element all-wheel drive is crazy. I know. I like the editing, honestly. Maybe that says more about me than him, but I like the attention-grabbing editing. Keeps me focused.
State of the car. The reverse doesn't really engage. The first few gears kind of work as long as you don't have to downshift. The transmission fluid is brown and smells burnt. One of the headlights is out. There's missing trim pieces. And it's also just really dirty with questionable stains all throughout. But before we get into anything, I want to have the transmission checked out to see if this thing is even worth restoring or if I should.
I wonder if he would have just changed the shift solenoids on it, if it would have worked. Sometimes you can just change those out and
Honda Element
work fine.
Like $4,000 or $5,000.
You're probably looking about $5,500.
It wasn't looking good, but I eventually had the car towed to my homie's friend Anton, who works at a shop but took this on as an after-hours side project, and he replaced my broken transmission with a working used one he found. And so a few weeks later,
if anyone out there knows anybody who's doing Honda Element transmissions, I have my blue and silver one is totally broken down with a broken transmission, so that's why you haven't been seeing it very much in my videos. I got a clean title OG owner 169. Not bad, dude. Not bad at all.
I got the call. Driving this car kind of feels like I died in GTA and had to restart from scratch. Anyways, let's see if
Jeez,
the reverse works. I hit the road and was able to drive 40 minutes home without any issues. The car downshifted smoothly and didn't hesitate or stall out one bit. Now, as happy as I am to have this thing back on the road, a transmission that shifts is not free. In fact, it was $1,745.
I'll pay for that. I'll buy a transmission for that price, no problem.
Plus $100 for the tow, which I think is actually a pretty great deal. Very thankful with how that worked out, but the car was still super musty. So I think let's start by at least cleaning it up a little. Well, more than a little. I popped off some trim pieces under the seats, which revealed like 15 years of gunk, as well as 4 bolts per seat that needed to be unscrewed. Once those are out, you can unplug all the electric connections and the front seats come right out, but it was not a pretty sight. Now, I also took the back seats out, but on Honda Elements, those come out without any tools. You just pull a lever.
That's right. Honda Elements for the win.
And take them right out. But man, I did not realize how musty this car actually was. I picked up some of the larger loot by hand, then moved on to using a vacuum. And underneath all that was more gunk and dried up liquids. So I took the car further and further apart. I used this drill brush attachment to loosen up all the dirt, sprayed everything down, eventually even used a steam cleaner to disinfect everything, at which point the light at the end of the tunnel finally started to show.
Ooh, that's satisfying. I got to do that with this Element. It's been a long time.
But next up were the lightly dookie stained seats. I used this spray cloth shampoo, the drill brush from earlier, and an extractor machine, and then did multiple rounds of that until they finally looked and smelled a little nicer. The rear seats also had mystery stains all throughout, so I ended up doing the same exact thing with those.
Gross, man.
All this cleaning was a multi-day process throughout which I did crash out a few times. I'm so happy with how it came out. This was all the loot I collected from the car. I did find $3.20 in change.
Win's a win, right? $3,
which we can subtract from the total. And at this point, I was ready to move on to the exterior, but unfortunately, we had a few issues. I don't think a wash is going to fix trim pieces like this rear one. The front bumper is rough. A new one would make the car look so much nicer, especially with how good the rest of the panels look. There's also a couple missing trim pieces on the roof. So I think before we get into detailing the exterior, we got to find some replacement parts.
It's so crazy to see this, man. Like, I've been watching this guy for so long. I can't believe he's at a pick and pull getting an Element part. It's so crazy.
Pick and pulls are unreal. It's a fascinating concept where you pay an entrance fee and then can just free roam and wrench on any of the cars you see, taking off whatever parts you need. Once you pay that $3 fee to enter, it's basically a free-for-all. State and federal
That armrest was a good score for sure.
laws no longer apply here. I don't know about that, but it's pretty great. I ended up going to 2 different locations and harvesting quite a few parts. You do pay for them on your way out, but it's nothing compared to buying the parts elsewhere.
My collar's blue, but my neck is red.
This was my $57 haul here. I did end up cleaning everything at home and started putting the parts on. Now, the parts were not all perfect. This rear bumper piece was not in mint condition, but it definitely looked a lot better than the original one.
I don't remember ever noticing like Honda Elements having that step. Watch. That must be aftermarket, that little step piece right there. I've never seen that rubber.
I screwed on the antenna, which was pretty nifty, popped in this little square, replaced the broken wheel cover, which was a great find. To put things in perspective, a new wheel cover alone would have cost more than this entire haul if we got it used on eBay. And then after thoroughly cleaning it, I attached this missing armrest. Things were coming together. And again, compared to ordering these parts anywhere else, this process saved us a ton of money. Now, did I spend 25% of the entire car purchase price on some beefy new tires? Yes. But hear me out. I think these all-terrain tires with the white lettering on the outside are going to look insanely tough.
What size tires did he get?
Insanely tough.
I wonder.
Purchase price on some beefy new tires?
I can't tell. It's too far to see.
Yes. But hear me out. I think these all-terrain tires with the white lettering on the outside are going to look insanely tough. Oh, I just split my head open. Okay, yeah, it does.
No, dude. Did he hit his head?
Insanely tough. Oh, I just split my head open. Okay, yeah, it does look pretty tough.
He needs the Volkswagen struts to make it a little higher, you know?
I also had the tire pressure sensors replaced when the new tires got put on, which got rid of this TPMS light. But I was still not able to freely drive the car because one of the headlights was out. I was gonna order a new one, but I realized these ones still used bulbs. So I spent like 10 bucks on a replacement bulb, popped it in. And while the bumper was off, I figured I'd try to restore these headlights, which were starting to get a little foggy. So I used a restoration kit that involves some wiping, sanding, and ceramic coat application. This alone made the car look like 5 years newer. But to make it smell 5 years newer, I popped out the glove box to reveal the cabin air filters.
Keep in mind, this is the air that I'd be breathing in when I turn on the AC.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
I have a video doing that. I wonder if you watched my video. That'd be hilarious, dude.
Grimy.
Yeah, I'm glad I got those replaced. I then also replaced the engine air filter so that the air the engine inhales was a little more fresh. I don't know. It just seemed like a good idea and was not difficult. Let's move on to the front bumper. I ordered a replacement bumper for $272, and when it came in, not the right shade of gray for our trim, so I asked to return it, and they said, man, take your bumper, take your money, get your bread up, little bro. They really let me keep the bumper for free, which was super cool. So with nothing, I decided to spray paint it in my backyard with a can I had laying around in the garage. I put all the trim back on and turned out decent. But I did buy the car without wheel well covers, so I got these online, slipped them on, and then to really finish off this restoration, I think I'm going to pop on a Nightmare podcast and do a 3-step paint correction by hand. It was my
I mean, I got to give this guy props. He's killing it. He's really restoring this element. I wonder how long it took him. Probably not too long, if I'm guessing.
first time trying this, but it's fairly simple. You apply on the compound, wipe it off, apply on the polish, wipe it off, apply on the wax, believe it or not, wipe it off.
Hey guys, Chris Fix here.
It was actually pretty neat. I think this hood was a great example since it had this massive scratch across it and you can just disappear right before your eyes as you go through this 3-step process.
Oh, my khaki needs some in the paint department.
Man, this is like an entirely different car than from when we first got it. I'm super happy with it, but now it's time to get into the actual camper build. Now, most of the designs I've seen online are of people just building a bed frame, adding some legs, and putting it into the car. I want to try something different. I think I can build the bed platform into the car by running some horizontal support beams across the side areas where the seats used to be. That way there's a ton of unobstructed storage under the bed platform, and I think it'll just look like a nice, clean, simple design. Let's go gather some wood. I went to Home Depot, bought some vertical wood as well as some horizontal wood. I then borrowed some tools from my dad and was ready to make my carpentry debut.
I forget who has their build like that. It's a girl. She has a green element, but she has the bed platform. It's just like a piece of wood resting on there.
Rolled around with this measuring tape,
Wonder if it
then
worked.
cut the first piece of wood and made holes on both sides so that it would fit right on these little bolts. That didn't work off rip, but after a few more tries and making the holes much larger, it did fit on and was super sturdy. Second piece of wood, it only took one cut, and this piece of wood laid right on this little nook here, but it was a little wobbly. So I screwed these little pieces of scrap wood to the ends of the beam, and that got it also pretty sturdy. There was this little flat area here in the middle on both sides, which was kind of perfect. It was super simple, one cut, and I just rested the beam right on there. Now for the most challenging one, I wanted a beam as close to the end of the car as possible.
I think I wonder if he's camping with somebody, because I wonder why he made the bed like fully across instead of just the half bed.
Right where it begins to curve in. So I created a cardboard template, and after a few tries, I cut this beam down to lay pretty snug on this area in the back, which was pretty satisfying. Now for the horizontal wood, I realized my original plan of adding hinges would not work, as there isn't enough height for the platform to bend back onto itself. It would hit the ceiling of the car. So that kind of simplified the design. I decided I'd just slide the wood into place when making the bed. It also meant I could return some of the materials I bought, which gave us like $100 back. But anyways, I made a more elaborate stencil for these back corners here, traced it onto the flat wood, and got to work with this cordless jigsaw, which may be the greatest tool ever invented. It's so
They are very nice to work with.
satisfying, and you can get real jiggy with it on the details. I mean, at this point, I felt like a carpentry genius, but I was quickly humbled. I did have to carry it back. I tried sanding it to take some size off, which I wanted to do anyway to give it this smooth finish, but that still wasn't enough. So I cut it further down, had to tweak these corners a little bit, and eventually
There you go.
fit like a glove. It was super solid. However,
Looks
we did
good.
have one issue I didn't see coming. I've heard that part of the reason as to why these Honda Elements got discontinued in, I think it was 2011 or 2012, is because safety regulations got more strict. And these cars, because they don't have a pillar here, do not do well when they're rammed from the side. And this is just my theory, but I think in order to protect the driver, they made this part of the seat very rigid. If I put a piece of wood on here, it's going to be like 2 inches higher than this.
I think maybe it's just because there's the airbag in there. But I heard rumors that the suicide doors, barn doors, whatever, the reason why they discontinued making that is because Toyota bought the patent for the FJ Cruiser to have the doors open like that, you know? So that's what I heard. That was the rumor I heard.
So instead, I'm thinking of cutting out a smaller square and laying it in the center here. And hopefully this bump just gets eaten up by the memory foam mattress. And so I did exactly that. Cut out a smaller square, sanded the edges, and then I also created this Minecraft pig looking thing that fit perfectly inside this oddly 2x4 size space in between the cup holders, and that acted as a leg for the bed. And to polish things off, I ended up staining the wood to give it a more completed look. So here I was once again painting in the dark, but I feel like it came out okay. With the platform done, I still needed a few crucial tweaks to the car. First off, a mattress. I got this full-size cheese block off Amazon, and it was a great fit. A little awkward to store and maneuver around the car, but I don't regret it.
That thing's freaking giant. There's no way he's keeping that. It's too big.
I also got some caps for the tires, a license plate frame. I put on these visors so that you can crack the windows to let oxygen into the car when you're camping in the rain without water getting in. And they also just look kind of cool and off-roady. And then also this net that goes over the window so that bugs can't come in through that cracked ventilation window. And because we surprisingly ended up fitting into the budget so well, I decided to splash on the ultimate car accessory, It did take a little finessing to get it in and mounted, but this car now had
UAV online.
this fits the rest of the dash so well. I think because the font on these buttons is very similar to the one on these knobs, it kind of looks OEM. But that's
That stereo looked pretty good, actually. He's right about that.
the final modification. We managed to abide by the budget pretty well with almost a band to spare. But now for the ultimate test, let's see if this thing actually camps.
Yeah, this looks good. It looks like the California coast. Maybe higher up in like Portland. I mean, not Portland, Oregon. That steak looks good though. I'm overdue for a camping trip. Okay. He brought his girl with him. I saw him camping with somebody. Okay, that makes sense why he made the full bed.
Pulled in a respectable 80 for the night.
Yeah, this thing camps.
I want to turn.
That's funny, man. That is funny. What did you guys think? See, I kind of thought like when he made this video, it's got like 2 million views, which is crazy. I thought like he was gonna make it and he was gonna be done with like the element stuff. And then this video popped up yesterday. I built a solo winter car camper. I will. But I was just like, I was surprised already when he did one Honda Element video. But for him to do a second one is just like,
I want to solo
super crazy. So let's see what's going on here.
camp this car in the snow. Now, I love my current simple setup, but it has two issues. One, there's no heating solution. I can't just keep running the car heater. Pretty sure that's bad for the car. I don't want to get stuck in the woods in freezing temperatures. Problem number two, I want to be able to cook a meal inside the car. I don't want to have to put on boots, get outside, and have to cook in the freezing snow. That's not very cozy at all, which means we're going to have to tweak this setup. Now, currently, this is just a two-person sleeping platform. And now,
Man, he's so good at editing. I just got to say that.
it's a one-person setup. But I do need to figure out a way to get rid of these beams and hopefully make this platform a little lower. There's not much headspace here. Now, luckily, I had some leftover wood. And after cutting it to size, it was pretty wobbly. There was this massive bolt sticking out here that I didn't account for. Much better.
I did the same thing in this one here, just like a little cutout like that. Not for that, but for the wheel well.
And I could now screw in these three legs to create a flat surface. Okay, I'll admit it's not the prettiest design, but it's rock solid. It perfectly fits this storage container underneath. And I also have this smaller mattress that should fit pretty nicely on here. The back end of the mattress does just lay directly on the front seat, but because it's where my legs go, it's still very comfortable. This is not bad at all. Okay, actually,
That's so funny. That's exactly what I did on my blue and silver. And yeah, even though the legs like hang off a bit, you don't even notice it at all. And I wonder where he got that mattress from. It looks pretty cool.
this gap is really bothering me. That's so much nicer. But anyways, this new bed design gives us a ton of open space here. And what I didn't tell you earlier was that I snuck out to Home Depot and bought some plywood that I will be using for a brand new structure. The side wall of this car was so difficult to work around. There's protrusions and curves you have to account for in like every slab of wood you cut, but to make things even more complicated, the floor in Honda Elements is not flat. It's angled towards the front of the car, so good luck. It took me a lot of measuring from the get-go to make sure I account for everything. Then came all of the cutting, test fittings, back to more cutting and more fitting and more cutting until eventually I had some pieces.
They need to bring back the Honda Element already. It's too good. It's too good.
That looked like this.
We have IKEA at home.
Except without instructions and no easy connections. So I used these metal brackets to begin connecting the wood, which actually worked really well. And once I had my vertical support in, I flipped the whole thing around and screwed in the final piece of the frame. My structure was really taking shape. Okay, before we get this new structure inside of here, I've purchased this luxury
I know he watched Sage's videos because that looks exactly like what Sage did.
$18 textile off Amazon
his.
to make the car feel a little warmer, at least mentally warmer. I'm not too sure of the science there if a rug will actually affect the temperature. I didn't realize that I picked a shaggy carpet. I chose this one because of the foam, so it's nice and soft, but nonetheless, this is really nice. It just feels so much more homey and comfortable. Once I confirmed that everything fit, I decided to round out this corner, which made entering and exiting the car so much smoother. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty hyped on this feature and observation. Just look how natural this leg flows. But I then continued the build by facing off with the wall of doom and protrusion once more using my measuring tape. From there, I transferred my measurements.
I've never seen anyone take out the plastics here. I wonder if there's like more space to work with if you were to take off all the plastic panels on the left-hand side.
Onto the plywood, made some cuts, and I now had a few more slabs of wood. Using those same metal brackets, I began to attach the new pieces on the inside of my structure, as well as this very special slab on the outside, which all of this resulted in a pretty sturdy shelf setup.
It's just
you gotta
Sage.
squint your
Or
eyes
Sage's
and don't
video.
look too
Or
close at some
build.
of these edges and angles. It doesn't even look that bad. And this isn't just the shelf. It also doubles as a countertop that I can use for cooking, fingerboarding, day trading, whatever. The possibilities are truly endless. I've measured these cubbies to fit very specific appliances and gear that I have in mind, but we can get to those in a second. We first have to address the car won't start issue, as well as the lock.
The what? What does it mean? Car won't start.
Side issue. The car starts right up and runs just fine, like 80% of the time. For the other 20%,
Well, that's the battery.
now my
Sure.
suspicion was the battery. And if that's the case, batteries
sure
in
that's the
cold
battery.
weather don't mix well. So the likelihood of the car starting after camping in the snow would be even lower. So to fix that, I went out and purchased this much bigger battery. I took the old one out and then had to do a little retrofitting and finessing. It doesn't sound right, but I think it's okay to put wood
I bet he
under a
bought the
battery. Also, this
24F.
new one is like twice the size of the old one. So I don't know. There's
750.
blogs from like 19 years ago saying it's fine, but I did manage to squeeze it in, and once it was connected into place, so hopefully that fixes the doesn't start every once in a while issue. Now for the locked inside issue, these cars don't come with a latch to open the trunk from the inside, so you always have to crawl around to go through the door. Fortunately, there's already some research.
Oh, look at that. I told you he was watching Sage's videos. That's crazy.
Published on how to fix this.
Crazy.
I began by popping off this back plastic trim. From there, I attached a wire to this mechanism that releases the latch. I secured that loop with these wire clamps. This is the latch that moves when you pull the handle from the outside. Then I attached this tiny pulley straight to the car. This part felt like cutting edge technology, but I fed the wire through the pulley, and now you pull that wire, the latch would open. So all that was left was to drill a small hole in the back plastic, feed the wire through the hole, and attach it to this ring with some more clamps.
Nice. Looks good.
Incredible. Now, back to these oddly shaped cubbies.
This open corner perfectly fits a refillable 3-gallon water jug, which conveniently has a dispenser built in. This section will store a battery/electric generator that I purchased. This thing should be able to run
I wonder if did he take off the branding?
any electronics
on
I may need, and eventually it can even be recharged by a solar panel. Now, the first thing plugging into that battery will be this mini fridge, which fit nicely into this bottom cubby here. That's pretty good. I do have some other gear going into these empty shelves, but first, I was complaining about headroom earlier, and for that, I have somewhat of a random solution. I realized that this open space right here is just big enough to fit my favorite chair in the world, the now discontinued REI Camp Stowaway low chair. Because
Homeboy hasn't heard of Hero's Hot Rod swivel seats yet. Just wait till he does.
this chair sits so low to the ground, it gives me plenty of headroom. And the sitting position, it almost feels like you're in a hammock. It's genuinely comfortable. This thing is a throne fit for kings. Plus, it also folds up, which is pretty great. Now, I've purchased some other vital gear that will help get me through the harsh Sierra Nevada winter, but I'll have to show that to you once we're in the mountains. Just kidding. A couple more modifications, like this luxurious state-of-the-art paper towel holder. And I also attached some mounting points that connect to the ones that are already built into the car, just so the shelf doesn't move around when I'm driving, and then a couple of bungee cords to hold the items inside the shelves. And with that, we were off to a lot more adventure than I thought I had signed up for. That is just unreal.
That's beautiful, dude. That is
some window covers,
man.
so let's get those up. I even got one for the moonroof in case the ops are in creative mode. The only windows I won't be fully covering are these front ones, and that's because I'm going to keep them slightly open. But I do have this mesh that I'll be putting over them, which will still offer some privacy, and it'll keep the bugs out. Car's been off for about 20-30 minutes, and it is getting pretty cold. So for my heating solution, I've purchased this Korean butane-powered heating device that a lot of people on the internet recommended. It's actually like fully Korean. There's not a lick of English on here.
That's crazy. I don't know if I trust that. Open flame. I don't know. I've used the Mr. Buddy heater, and it worked good. For sure, it kept me warm. But it's after using a diesel heater, that's the way to go. Butane is crazy.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little sussed out with butane burning inside of a car. So I'm going to use it sparingly and only when I'm awake. I brought this gas monitoring device. It should alert me if things get a little toxic in here. Now, to make sure I don't die from a fire, I did install a fire extinguisher in here.
Big brain.
And then in case any ops or animals pull up, I did buy some bear spray. So I believe that covers the big three. But anyways, it's getting nice and toasty in here, so I think it's time for dinner. For my cooking solution, I brought along this propane stove. The gas line runs underneath the countertop through a little niche I cut out where you can connect it to a can of propane. I made sure to bring some cooking supplies like this pan, of course, stainless steel without a non-stick coating.
This guy's a goof, man. That's smart.
And also a cooler for a few items that I wanted on ice rather than in the fridge. Honestly, more comfortable to cook in here than I thought it would be. Plenty of space on this countertop.
Should I do more cooking videos? I think I'm a little inspired now. I'm going to do some more cooking videos in here.
And more than enough room
now that
for
I got
me
the live
to
setup.
move around. For my appetizer, I'll be having some lightly toasted bread, salted grass-fed butter, salmon boba on top. A little salty, a little fishy, and just the energy that I'll need to cook up the main course. Got some veggies.
Oh, nice.
This rice comes pre-cooked, which is very convenient.
I got to try that. That's good.
I was actually able to turn off the heater at this point. With a space of this size, the stove alone was emitting enough heat to keep things pretty comfortable. And for the protein, some lobster tail. I've never...
Homeboy's been watching a lot of YouTube van life
cooked
people.
lobster tail, but I watched a YouTube short that said you got to slice it open, add some pepper, salt, a little butter, a little oil, and just pop it in a pan for a few minutes. I splashed some lemon in there and then attempted to cut this
No lie, that looks
onion
pretty
the best
good,
I
man.
could. at which point the lobster had cooked through and I could move on to separating the meat from the lobster shell. Of course, I had to plate the dish, make it presentable, and
Butter pan seared lobster along with some fried rice.
That looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
heater back on, cozy mode initiated with a delicious meal. I mean, come on.
Almost forgot the bev. And now it's
Hold up.
Heater back on.
I'm only gonna point this out, but he's laying on here without the mattress. You know, you got to do the simple. These are the little things you got to do when you're making a YouTube video. You got to do it for the shot, you know.
Cozy mode initiated with a delicious meal. I mean, come on.
almost forgot the bev. And now it's time for our third and final course for the evening.
If I wanted to camp out for a little longer, I'd probably just boil the water on the stove. But I had more than enough battery on this trip to enjoy the convenience and precision of an electric kettle.
Electric's the way to go, dude. Like gas, it takes too long, and I think electric's just easier, you know?
We're looking at a little open flame cooking here, a very advanced technique. In fact, one that you probably shouldn't do in a car.
Smoke a
Dark
lot.
chocolate s'more and some chamomile tea.
That's funny. That was funny, dude.
Hey! Hello, who is this? Can I help you? Hey! What can I do for you?
Open the door!
How may I help you?
Open the door!
I'm not going to be able to do that.
Hey, what are you doing?
What the? I saw this already, so I knew it was coming. Dude. I don't know. I mean, I do know. It's not true. I'm trying to spoil it.
It's been like 2 weeks since this happened, and my heart rate still goes through the roof anytime I watch this back. What you can't really see in this video is that the car that drives up and starts honking actually first fully blocks in my car. Someone comes out of the car with a flashlight, fully just blinding me, so I can't really see what's going on outside. And if you remember, my windows are cracked open, so I try to speak to him and he's just not responding. It's dead silence. He then suddenly starts banging on the window, yelling at me to open the door. He even goes for the handle of the door. And man, once I heard the aggression in his voice, my heart just fully sank. I realized that this was not a friendly encounter. So,
Dude, he was way too calm. He was way too calm when he was talking to that guy. You know, he's like, well, "Can I help you?"
I reached around from the back and started up the car. I slide in the driver's seat. He gets even more aggressive, starts banging on all my windows, continues yelling at me to open the door. At this point, it got a lot colder, so the snow underneath the car is more frozen. My wheels are spinning in place, not catching traction. He's still blinding me with his flashlight. He aggressively rips off my mesh bug net, keeps banging the window harder and harder until he fully breaks it in. And I'm showered with shards of glass in my face. And praise the Lord Almighty, right at this point, my wheels catch traction and there's just enough of an angle there where I can squeeze past this car, get around him, and get myself out of there. You can see my left eye rapidly blinking here. It was blurry the entire way home, and after
Dude, that's so freaking crazy.
getting it checked out, it appears that some of the glass had scratched through my eyeball. I've been going through treatment for that, and I can now see more clearly, which is pretty great. Now, I have no idea what this guy's intentions could have been, my mind goes to maybe he lived in the area, saw my car, thought I was up to no good. But then why block me in and smash through my window instead of just talking to me? I had a whole breakfast planned. I was hoping to enjoy some coffee
Damn.
by the river.
That's crazy.
Unfortunately, we have this alternate ending, but I don't know. Maybe this will inspire some extra caution with this kind of thing. But anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you subscribe, thank you for subscribing. God bless you and your family and your friends.
Please subscribe so I can get a new window. Damn. No. Human trafficking? There's no way, bro. Dude, you know what would be pretty crazy? Oh, I have a conspiracy theory for you guys. Oh man. What if they thought that this element was Lily? I don't know if you guys know Lily. Let me see. Honda Element no build. See, what if they thought this was Lily's Honda Element? Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here with Lily Strand.
For even.
Yo. Because she's got the same color.
Elevating my seat.
Trying to find like just
has pretty incredible.
Yeah. See, what if they thought that would be so crazy, dude? Like if they were like, oh yeah, this is Lily, and trying to like get into the car, but then they probably heard his voice, Biaheza's voice, so maybe they knew it wasn't her. I don't know. That would be freaking so crazy, dude. What do you guys think?
One, there's no heating. I don't know. Maybe you and your family and your friends. I want to select.
That's crazy, bro. Let's watch that again.
Here, a very advanced, in fact, one that you probably shouldn't.
All right, let's watch it again. Human trafficking, crazy. Robbery? Yeah, robbery for sure. Robbery.
Hey! Hello, who is this?
Damn, dude. To stop and hit record in this moment is pretty wild, dude. Smart, but wild.
Can I help you? Hey, what can I do for you?
Open the door!
And like the camera's like already set up, so like he must have had it on a tripod or something, you know, and just like he must have had it on a tripod and just like set it down when he started to hear the noise. That's crazy to do in the moment.
How may I help you?
Open the door!
I'm not going to be able to do that.
Hey, what are you doing?
Crazy, bro. No, I think he says in here that he wasn't on private property. Maybe he was without knowing. You're right, but
the car that drives up and starts honking actually first fully blocks in my car. Someone comes out of the car with a flashlight, fully just blinding me, so I can't really see what's going on outside. And if you remember, my windows are cracked open, so I try to speak to him and he's just not responding. It's dead silence. He then suddenly starts banging on the window, yelling at me to open the door. He even goes for the handle of the door. And man, once I heard the aggression in his voice, my heart just fully sank. I realized that this was not a friendly encounter, so I reached around from the back.
I don't know. Like, I'm a little skeptical, but his eye got messed up. So that makes me less skeptical. You know what I'm saying? Like if well, he says in the video he has bear spray.
And started up the car.
This
I
has
slide
bear
in the
spray on
driver's
him.
seat. He gets even more aggressive, starts banging on all my windows, continues yelling at me to open the door.
For sure. And then like you see him here
I can started up the car.
like he's moving like things out of the way, right? So he was sleeping or something, and he takes the bag and he puts it in the front seats, which makes me think it's more real, because that's what you do when you're camping.
Slide in the driver's seat. He gets even more aggressive, starts banging on all my windows, continues yelling at me to open the door. At this point, it got a lot colder, so the snow underneath the car is more frozen. My wheels are spinning in place, not catching traction. He's still blinding me with his flashlight. He aggressively rips off.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Serial killer? Nah. Bro could have clickbaited so hard, but decided not to. Respect. The ops actually pulled up. Next time, bring the... Wow. I read this comment. This is the truest one right here. Buying that battery might have saved your life. Dude, if his car didn't start, my best guess... Yeah, man. Honestly, I think it's just like a crazy person. I like maybe a random act. I think maybe it was private property or adjacent to private property or something like that. But I doubt he was targeted. Maybe he thought it was Lily. That's kind of my best guess. Lower that. But yeah, this comment here, that battery, dude. Thankful he got that battery, man. I was 100% convinced the end was a bit. I mean, that's what I too. No. I mean the guy like who saw the car. Maybe he was like randomly he knew who Lily was. You know what I mean? It's slim odds, but maybe. No screaming, no panicking, just calm and a thought out reaction. Respect. Genuinely, I thought it was the wifey dropping off groceries or a fake. Yeah, when I watched it, I thought the same thing, but bro, you need a something. Mythical refresh. That guy was a total freak. Who in their right mind would open the door when some freak is yelling and being aggressive like that? That scared me. I can only imagine how scared Bia Hazel was during that part. Glad he was able to get away from that freak. That is the main reason I would not camp alone. Yeah, I mean, I invited Bia Heza on a comment. I was like, yo, dude, like come hike with us, man. Or camp with us to keep you safe, bro. Dude, the ending's insane. Man went from a financial channel to a lifestyle channel. It's true. But who's the guy? No investigation, police report, near cameras. Oh, look at Nate O'Brien. I had an encounter like this while living in my truck. Now I carry a 9mm. Woohoo! Don't mess with Nate. I had a story too. I've told it in a podcast. I'll tell it here just briefly, but like I was sleeping and someone knocked on my window, my side window here, and they didn't knock, sorry. They were looking in, and then I knocked on the window because I didn't know what else to do. And then he took off, and I like took off running for him. I'm going to find the footage from that day, and I'm going to make a video after seeing this. Bro was respectful the whole time, even in the face of aggression. Good Lord, was watching a peaceful video before I fell asleep. Now he's wide awake. No clickbait no clickbait title or thumbnail. Dang, dude. It was crazy, man. That was a crazy one. I wonder what this says. Thanks for the Russian voiceover, bro. I was surprised to hear the 1920s in places I felt like overdid. Damn, dude. The knock knock. Woo! That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. What do you guys think? Just a crazy person? Was he targeted? Was it random? It's crazy work, bro. Crazy. All right, my friends. Hey, thanks for joining the live. I definitely have more element tours and more element videos coming up, but I thought this would be something fun and interesting and low effort to do. But yeah, thanks you guys so much for being here, for subscribing. Be sure to like and subscribe